Hi, my name is Mackenzie Murren, and I am going to be teaching you how to play the game of soccer. Just to go over this a little bit, the stuff that I am using to teach you guys is a whiteboard, and then these are magnets that I got from my soccer coach. So, to begin, a little bit about soccer is the stuff that you need is shin guards here. So these are my shin guards. There's not much to them, honestly, just a little bit of padding here. And then these are some of my old cleats. There's a few spikes on the bottom. The main thing is you can't have a spike on the very tip of the shoe. Other than that, you just have socks that generally go up to your knees and then your uniform. So to begin, I'll tell you guys a little bit about all the positions. I'll just go over it really quick. So we have the goalie on both ends, and then we have the players here. The yellow is the refs, and then the red is the other team. So the purpose of the game is one of the things that people generally know about, but I'm going to be going over it just a little bit so we're all on the same page. So there are 11 players allowed on the field on each team. This number might dip sometimes due to the few rules, but I'll talk about that later. One player can use their hands, and they are known as the goalie, which are the black magnets. However, everyone else cannot use their hands. They can use their heads, feet, chest, stomach, or pretty much anything else on the body. Each team tries to get the ball into their goal, the opposite goal, pretty much any way possible. So some of the formations, usually our team, you can kind of see it. It's a 4-4-2. That's generally what people use, or I used a different formation on this side, and it's a 4-3-3, and that is also very effective. Usually, since it's 11 on 11, it's the biggest field, so there are 3 refs. This ref goes from this sideline to this sideline. The middle one runs the entire field, and this one goes from this sideline to this sideline. So there are 11 players on the field, and they typically have a specialty position that they all play. The goalies that I sort of mentioned, but they can use their hands. They typically guard the goal and stop the ball from going in with their hands, but they can also use any other part of their body to stop it. In front of the goalies are the defenders, so these and these. Next is the midfielders. So here and here, I kind of have them at an arc here because that's the best way for them to play on the field generally. After that are the forwards or the strikers. And in the game of soccer, everyone pretty much runs around everywhere, so people can switch positions all the time, and that's pretty normal for it to happen. So the defender's job is to defend the goal, which is pretty explanatory. Midfielders, they typically run the entire field, and they help to get the ball over on offense, and they also come back and play defense. So the blue side here is really easy to describe because we have a defending midfielder and an attacking midfielder, and those two generally just stay from here and here, and then this one just pushes back a lot more, and this one pushes forward. So next we have the attackers, or the strikers, and they are the ones that usually put the ball into the goal. They typically also do a little bit of defending, but that usually only happens when they're up here and they lose the ball. They try their hardest to get the ball back. So in the game of soccer, when people get the most confused is about is the rules. They're relatively simple, but there are a few. So, first of all, we have offsides. This is where attacking person is when someone plays them the ball in relation to the other team's defensive line. Growing up, this is probably the hardest thing for people to learn because you usually start with like 4-on-4 and then go up 6-on-6 and then you go front to 11-on-11. And once you hit 6v6, that's when the offside rule comes into play. So the offside rule is these people are all up and these strikers are attacking. I'll move these defenders up a little bit. So offsides would be when the striker is behind the defenders and this person would try to kick them the ball. That is offsides because it is not fair. But say the striker is right in line with defenders and then this person kicks them the ball, they are okay to go ahead and give them the ball then, and it would not be counted as offsides. The biggest part about goals not being scored in soccer is the offsides rule, so that is the hardest part for people to learn and figure out. We, as players, have a hard time describing to our parents this rule usually because most people don't understand, but once you're a soccer player, it's actually a really nice thing so you don't get scored on as easily. So the next rule we have are corners, so that's here and here. So usually when the ball goes out of bounds, it's just a throw in from this line and that line. But if a ball goes out of bounds right here, then it is either a corner kick or a goal kick. So a corner kick is when the defense kicks it out of bounds over here and the offense would get the ball here and everyone will line up in the 18-yard box and try to score. If it is a goal kick, that means the offense kicked the ball out of bounds here and the goalie would get the ball and kick it from the 6-yard box. So the next thing is free kicks will happen whenever there is a foul or offsides or violation anywhere on the field. It is when the ball is set down and someone gets a second to kick the ball wherever they want. Usually it happens on the attacking half of the field and usually they shoot on goal. The next is penalty kicks, and that is when there's a foul within the 18-yard box. When someone takes a PK, they get a free shot on the goal with just the goalie in front of them. A lot of goals are scored this way, and it is actually quite devastating when someone misses this chance. Fouls for this game are kind of confusing because it's up to the ref, really. There can be a lot of fouls called, and usually it's only free kicks. But sometimes the fouls are so bad that there are either yellow cards or even red cards. Yellow cards are given for anything from a foul, talking back to the ref, having jewelry on, having the wrong uniform on, swearing, or anything in that region. And a yellow card is pretty much just a warning, but it's not something great to get, and usually people try to avoid them. A red card can be given for a super serious foul or if someone gets 2 yellow cards in the same game, and that is an automatic red card. Red cards are pretty serious because that would be when a team has to play down a person and then the person who got the card has to sit out of the game. Red cards and yellow cards are different than other rules because they can be given to coaches, fans, and players.